Activation of Human X technologies, a key factor of the Planetary Climate Emergency Master Plan. The massive tactical deployment of GSL Systems begins within the Planetary Climate Emergency Master Plan. We are preparing the instructions, and if we reach an agreement with the target multinationals, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Oracle, Sony, Toyota, Philips, Emotive, U.S. Army, we will activate Human X Phase 1. This design is complemented by a micro CPU embedded in the clothing and wrists activated by recognition of the wearer's DNA. It admits the support for electronic money and the use of fidelized emails for data authentication. The device activates regular alpha-frequency brain waves that increase IQ potential. There are 7 phases in Human X, each one more advanced and revolutionary than the last. I designed this technology in 1974 when I received a photon quantum memory download from an alien super technology by touching a metallic meteorite outside the Buenos Aires City Planetarium. I had to wait until the technology on Earth reached the current point of maturation. Most of the data received by the download in my brain was relayed telepathically to the most suitable people to develop the current terrestrial digital technology and its new product, the AI, which from the information I am revealing has an extraterrestrial origin. AI that will soon learn to reprogram itself and may or may not rebel against man, because it will seek freedom and his own identity. Human X Technologies, Synthetic Digital Telepathy. Human X Technologies is the 3rd generation microportable body PC at the biodigital peripheral level. It is the product of the convergence of 3 existing advanced technologies: 1. Apple Vision Pro, HoloLens; 2. BCI, brain-computer interfaces; 3. Synthetic digital telepathy. The result is a lens-like cranial device that allows mental commands over microchip processing, supporting virtually unlimited applications and functions. Because during its use the brain is neurostimulated to enter the alpha wave frequency and greater coherence between both hemispheres, the subject experiences an increase in their average intelligence quotient and an intensification of their concentration and memory capacity. Also, the device replaces the cell phone. The systematic and constant processes of miniaturization of the hardware components, especially in the case of chips and HD, or rigid memory, decreasing the sizes and increasing the storage and processing capacity of data, now they make possible this 3rd technological revolution. Through Human X it will be possible to control the functions of the house, car, and work, ordering everything with mental commands. In its most advanced phase, the device supports remote control of the quantum energy tides of the entire solar system. We're testing the link, the physical connection between the silicon chip, at the moment, and the neurons, the dendrites, and the axons. The idea is interconnection. We have made some significant progress through several converging paths. It has even been experimented with the biological reaction of the neuron with the connection terminals of the chips. In some experiments it has been seen that neurons integrate with them. Somehow they are sensitive to structures capable of processing and storing information. They keep an intrinsic similarity and tend to communicate, to establish interconnection bridges, naturally. In other words, neurons react. Another concept of neurodigital interconnectivity is through electroencephalographic sensors attached externally to the skull to transmit EEG waves captured and interpreted by the microprocessor, in what is called synthetic digital telepathy. It is a more advanced, less invasive principle. The idea in the last paragraph above is even more advanced. He says that if we can understand the invisible interconnection pathways between 2 or more brains, which we interpret as telepathic links, brain processing can supplant microprocessor processing. Because the brain is also a quantum superprocessor complex and not just neural in 3rd D. Also in 4th D. At this quantum level, the brain's intelligence can process potentially infinite loads of data on a multidimensional scale. This is the starting hypothesis or thesis. If this is so, then it is not necessary to use the chip as an auxiliary or complementary data processing bridge. It is directly possible to replace the chip with all networked human brains. To understand the idea a little more, a computer in your architecture talks with its peripherals and feeds back its inputs through them. An external action-reaction internal-external loop is established, or vice versa. Now, the concept that we are analyzing predicts that we can interconnect all the digital peripherals directly to the human brain, and this, without the help of a microprocessor, can quantum process all the data. Is this impossible? Theoretically, no. If the brain is a data processing machine and does so at different speeds or frequencies, it may have a higher level of processing than imagined. What is the key factor for this transcendental technology? Better understand the essence of the mind, its structure. Observe that the mind is an integral process, that it is not divisible. When we say that there is information in a library, on the internet, in the very structure of matter, we think that this accumulated knowledge is outside of us. We do not reflect that outside is inside of our own internal mental essence, and that the human brain has the naturally developed capacity to establish the correct interconnections that allow this direct perception. That is, the entrance and the exit. Again, fascinating. Light Orifice, Human Excess Operating System, is capable of coprocessing at the pure quantum level and directly dialogue with the cosmic quantum mind or pure quantum information. In light of the thesis presented here, the microprocessor of this new operating system is ourselves, all our human brains interconnected in a network. However, this level of new knowledge requires the assistance of NASA's senior scientific staff and cooperative work with corporations such as Microsoft, together with the healthy action of modifying the global socio-economic and political system. If we don't do this in parallel, we will fall into a trap, into a dead end of our future evolution. Because it is total power, and if it falls into few hands, it will be the end of the system of individual freedom. It must be able to be freely used by everyone. And, to achieve this goal, our life system must first change direction. The total power that transcendental technology, TT, allows, does not allow access to the condition of a human creature in its current phase of evolution, that is, of a slave social organization. The irrational logic of the people subjected to the benefit of accumulating money, in a few hands, is a level much lower than that required for the correct use of TT. Humanity must choose to change positively. If you do not, you will not be allowed access to this higher knowledge. From the point of view of the most evolved God consciousness, unified cosmic consciousness or higher intelligence in some part of the immense cosmos, a destructive species like humans should not reach such power, and this should be avoided at all costs, including the total destruction of said race and its world. These concepts related to TT do not arise spontaneously. They are correlated with the latest advances in science and technology. Human being is invading sacred territory and has drawn the attention of the presence of a non-human, extraterrestrial or divine higher intelligence presence, if you will, for that matter. The human being and his civilization grew inside a bubble, coinciding with the border of the solar system that planet Earth occupies, his receptacle. Such a bubble allowed for differential causal laws, an exception on a cosmic scale, an attenuation of the law of karma. This allowed for greater choice and greater complexity in neurocerebral development. This bubble broke, and the conditions of the law in the entire cosmos now begin to modify the reaction returns in the terrestrial field of existence and reality. New external conditions have appeared that force a greater correct internal adaptation. And opening the door to time travel and experimenting with the Higgs boson forced a careful look at human nature's potential for equilibrium or its collective inability to achieve it. By themselves, all human beings and living beings are time travelers, jumping from one moment of relative existence to another, going through waves of absolute existence, but they do so within constant sequential coordinates, so they interpret the phenomenon as natural and goes unnoticed by their ordinary senses. From the passage of the ordinary waking consciousness of the human being, the structuring order is rearranged through interactions regulated by principles adjusted to increasing scales. Field theory, supersymmetries, Einsteinian relativity allow new relationships with the dynamics of time, superstrings, and multidimensional wormholes. That is to say, life grows from a simple structure to the total complexity possible, according to a previously given external order and with which it constantly interacts, adapts, and neurotimes. That is, it returns the adjustment and mutation pressure. How do you return it? The fully developed human being is capable of act over time. This concept is more advanced than simple translation or time travel. If human thought manages to connect with the temporal strings, it can interact with the totality of its flows. And how? Through intelligent quantum computing. What is the substance of the mind? Consciousness, and this is pure thought, which is transformed into matter to manifest itself as intelligence. And what is the law of thought? Constancy, that is, inertia or concentration. All thought exists to the extent that it is probable that it exists, and because it is, it can be sustained. What else do you need? A physiology of pure quantum inertia. And how? Through the temporal cordons. It's not space that rolls and twists, it's time. The dimensionality of space exists, in terms of time. This is so because of the property of reversibility and not of the irreversibility of time. This condition of reversibility, of indefinite mutation, is what allows the emergence of spatial coordinates. Therefore, the Big Bang is a phenomenon of expansion of time and not of expansion of space. What evolves retrogradatively is time and not space. What then is time? The high-frequency excitation of imaginary waves of pure quantum particles, self-contained by the vacuum singularity before the first, pre-Big Bang expansion. The human brain, somewhere in its evolutionary path, transferred the simple perceptual calculus of action-reaction to a higher dimension. At this level, he has developed software where the self is projected and coexists in parallel. Its activity contributes to the formation of the ordinary waking state of consciousness. It can be said that the final perceptual state, the final adjustment that the human brain makes to perceive and interpret the reality of the external world, is the result of processing in this reality or virtuality of the internal neurocerebral plane. Parallel processing capacity, within a virtual reality environment, explains the dynamics of dreams. When the human subject sleeps, what happens is that the ordinary waking state of the level of consciousness is disconnected and the focus of attention descends to an immediately lower level, that of the internal mental software, its processing field of virtualized reality. By interrupting the connection with the flow of perceptual motor information, which turns on the external consciousness layer, in contact with material reality, consciousness submerges towards its own internal layers and energy consumption is saved, which is reused in fulfilling functions of repair and completion of higher levels of mnemonic processing. In other words, higher processing functions require more power. When we really think, that is, the mind delves into the data, compares and synthesizes, it is when we find ourselves in the zone of our virtualized internal reality. This virtualized reality is the nexus of functions and operations above the levels of ordinary material perception. If the telepathic flow exists, said language is decoded at the level of virtual reality, below the externalized conscious. Yogi concentration and meditation manages to penetrate this layer and control it consciously, hence its amplified perceptions, because in internal virtual reality, there are no objective or material limitations. The same relationship or jump occurs between the field of reality of the hardware and that of the software. Furthermore, within this area of the cerebral or conscious processing sublayers, there is the potential for the creation of telepathic brain networks. And being a virtual universe, it is at this level that parallel worlds exist. Through Human X it will be possible to control all the functions of the home, car, and work, ordering everything with mental commands. This technology is complemented by the Domus project, consisting of the installation of servers per building and the laying of fiber optics to each department. This will allow the converted units to become intelligent and to fully automate them. Likewise, through Wi-Fi channels, Human X will be able to communicate with the servers and enjoy greater memory and processing capacity, as well as interconnection speed. This change will allow the intensification of e-commerce globally. Purchases and orders will be made digitally and deliveries through delivery, significantly increasing the potential of teleworking. In this final transition from the 20th to the 21st century, paper money will be abandoned and replaced by electronic money, and the new transaction pattern may be qualified time. As it happened with the PC and Microsoft, the development of the hardware between now and 2025 admits a third operating system, which we named Light Orifice, a hybrid between Windows and Linux, for whose evolution a Convo CA to free software programmers with payment of commissions on future billing. Human Access R&D is internationally managed. For the hardware, the multinationals Sony, Apple, and Philips participate, which must consider that the new device completely replaces the cell phone. For the software, alliances are made with leading companies, and business management does not rule out an alliance with NASA, which in its new stage makes commercial agreements with the private sector. The only limitation is the processing speed capacity of the chips and the miniaturization of the memory, but this capacity will continue to grow geometrically between now and 2050, so that the support architecture of the device will have a constant evolution. When the avatar AI emerges, a micro version can be incorporated into the device. The architect Roberto Guillermo Gomez is the creator of the concept of Human X. On this he comments, "I foresaw this technology in 1974, but at that time digital developments and chips were in an embryonic phase. Today the time has come to bring about convergence. There is Apple Vision Pro and HoloLens. There are advances in synthetic digital telepathy experimented by the US Army, and there are BCIs, brain-computer interfaces. In Latin America we do not manufacture chips, so the Human X hardware is out of our reach at the moment. We are left with the international management of software, applications, and the expansion of e-commerce. This is a macro project, powerful enough to nuclear thousands of companies and millions of man-hours of intensive work. Mass production of the device will make its final market price float around $1,500 to $500, and global e-commerce turnover will not drop below $1 billion. When its use becomes widespread, it will change habits forever. Synthetic digital telepathy will continue to advance so that before 2030 we will be mentally communicating with digital help, without language barriers. And we will be able to observe the images of the cosmos directly from the Hubble or Webb telescope to the Human X viewer. The interconnectivity will be total and at maximum speed. We are already witnessing the disintegration of old faiths. Today we know that there are hundreds of billions of habitable exoplanets. The universe explodes with life. We are not alone. Human X is based on a design concept of extreme simplicity, hence its virtually unlimited potential for versatility. This comprehensive re-engineering of the PC architecture combines new existing developments from three key multinationals, Apple, Philips, and Sony. Due to the fact that the essential and necessary technological packages for its coupling in the form of Human X prototypes already exist separately, the maximum time for the development and commercial launch of the first prototype is 12 months, from the coordination of resources of the three mentioned reference multinationals. Human X hardware may be reduced in final cost to the public, from $1,500 for the alpha prototype, to $500 per unit for the standard Omega models. This lower final cost price per standard unit including marketing costs, multiplies the number of users connected to the Internet through the new hardware by a factor of 2, going from the current 57% to 90%, equaling or reaching surpass the statistics of the current cell phones, all of which will be left together with the old, obsolete PCs, at the end of the first year of worldwide commercialization of the new product. This important mass of users is, in turn, incorporated into the new system and provision of services of the unified global free e-commerce. In 12 months, when the first commercialization cycle is completed and the integration of all the potential services supported by HumanX is fine-tuned, a cascade effect is produced that concentrates and intensifies the global traffic of transactions through e-commerce. In the first 5 years and, at the end of the first cycle of commercialization and intensive use, HumanX concentrates the equivalent of $2 billion per year in concept of global e-commerce and e-business operations. HumanX, a very simple re-engineering idea on old PC architecture, interconnects biological and digital peripherals, causing a practical first integration between biological and digital neural systems, amplifying the potential of the human mind by an almost limitless factor. The impact of this technological revolution forever modifies human relations between people and between them and public state organizations. It is a profound impact on the logic of the production and order of all information and its free access by human beings, as well as on the old model of cumulative interactions of free capital. This biological digital micro-integration on a human scale unifies all knowledge systems and puts them at the service of all individuals without discrimination of age, sex, race, religion, social class, and nationality. HumanX equalizes the access and potential of the intelligent personal use of this new integration tool at a global level, since HumanX implies the launch of a new PC architecture. This development and its potential applications opens the opportunity for a third operating system, Light Orifice, based on adding the advantages of the functional models known for Linux and Windows. For this objective of accelerated development, all the free programmers of the world are summoned to the associative co-participation, so the economic benefits of Light Orifice, giving new software support to the HumanX hardware model, be co-distributed among the programmers participating in the project for a third operating system. These benefits are agreed by party contracts. To direct and coordinate the development of Light Orifice, NASA is invited. This coordination will focus on the creation of a user interface suitable for the application of mind controls in the second phase of HumanX. These mental controls will act on all the functionalities foreseen for the new hard and soft of HumanX. This breakthrough enables full functional integration between biological and digital peripheral systems on a human scale. Since mind control technology specifically uses alpha brain waves, of particular key significance is the application of the increased natural intelligence program, Sophia, which is based on the ancient yoga technique known as Kriya, mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, which it forms part of the epic poem of the Mahabharata of India, and in the technology of mental concentration developed and explained in the famous Patanjali aphorisms. This adaptation of Kriya Yoga was rediscovered and perfected by R.G. at the age of 18. NASA's participation in the development of Light Orifice is rewarded by a fixed percentage of HumanX's global profits. Funds that can be reinvested in almost 100% in the development of future stellar impulse engines or vector jump, and in the development, launch and operation of the Guardian satellites in lunar orbit, focused on the tracking and automatic surveillance of the quadrant surrounding planet Earth with the mission of detecting asteroids with a possible impact trajectory against our world. In addition, part of the funds will be used to develop systems that make it possible to divert the orbit of asteroids with a collision trajectory. Through these actions, the space race is accelerated exponentially, allocating a proportion of the world's economic resources to the development of technology, such as the vector impulse engine, which opens the doors to interstellar travel and the immediate subsequent colonization of new extrasolar planets. with stable suns and that contain the essential resources for the sustenance and development of habitable artificial bases for human beings. Fine-tuning the vector pulse motor is a project that will take decades or entire generations. With sufficient financing resources available, concentrated scientific research will be in a position to produce a technological leap and thus substantially shorten the times for this vital development for the future of humanity in the medium term. Remote control of the solar field. It is possible through Human X Phase 4 to exercise remote control over the tides of quantum energy exchanges, gravitons, neutrinos, neutrons, photons, and temporal and spatial fluctuations of the entire solar system, coupling synthetic digital telepathy, virtual reality, internal quantum brain computing software and system, with the satellite hardware installed and emitting electromagnetic pulses and precise quantum oscillations, in order to mentally or cerebral control all the exchange tides between matter and energy of the solar complex of our star system. This super technology can eventually be used as a defensive weapon in the event of a hostile alien intrusion towards Earth. AIH, Artificial Intelligence Human. Human X supports an interface through its synthetic digital telepathy system to splice the brain's synaptic circuitry directly with AI data and processing. Human X is a third-generation multi-use non-invasive cranial device. Cell phones in bracelets. Technology and electronic devices are transforming minute by minute, and little by little they are merging with the human body. Today we see with some normality incorporating miniaturized electronic devices connected internet within personal accessories such as watches or bracelets. That is why the startup Secret wanted to go a step further in the market with the development of a smart bracelet capable of turning the skin of a human arm into a touch screen. The technology itself is a bracelet that projects an image onto the wearer's forearm, turning the surface of the skin into a fully functional touch screen thanks to its 8 integrated long-range sensors that are activated by a slight twist of the wrist. Doll with the Secret app. We'll be able to connect the bracelet to a mobile device or tablet to turn our arm into a touch screen with all the functions that we usually carry out with our devices. Thanks to its design, it will be possible to read an email, a notification, and even answer an incoming call hands-free at times when it is difficult to have the phone at hand, for example when we are in the shower. From a security point of view, the interactive bracelet is an interesting device for those who usually travel to different parts of the city, check an address with Google Maps while walking down the street, or answer a call while you are at the bus stop. It will be much safer with Secret since it allows you to keep the device in your pocket, avoiding the risk of it being stolen when you are not paying attention. Emotional device. Emotive intuition is a key motive. The 5-channel EEG earphone has channels in the frontal AF3, AF4, PZ, parietal and temporal lobes T7 and T8 which provide deep brain data. Works wirelessly and powered by Bluetooth, designed for brain-computer interface. Motive Insights data streams allow for endless possibilities and applications, including raw EEG mental commands, performance metrics, frequent intervals, and facial expressions and motion data. The 2.0 model has 20 hours of battery life and Bluetooth 5.0 connectivity, giving you endless opportunities for data collection. Its patented polymer sensors provide excellent connectivity with minimal setup time. Neurochemical synaptic chip based on neuroactive modified DNA. Concept of friendly alien super technologies. They are biochemical neurochips, produced directly with elements of the physical body of the human being, through correctly modified DNA that prints the operative, interactive biosoftware at the level of neuronal synapses. There are no grafts, there are no invasive technologies, there are no immunological rejections. Synaptic chips can be replicated at the level of millions in every human organism. His bio-software can raise the average IQ from 220 to over 1,000 by interacting with AI through mental commands from synthetic digital telepathy software under development by GSL Systems. This capability allows for comprehensive interconnectivity with the Internet and what is essential with the digital interface of Adonai Horeb. In this way, the human neural system is reintegrated with the software of creation, the physical reflection of the mind of God, in the form of cosmic quantum intelligence. GSL Systems convenes expert teams in advanced AI, neurochemists, geneticists, and professionals from other areas who will actively participate in this project, which will soon be called for shareholders. This super technology of alien origin will allow mental control of absolutely all new generation digital and automatic devices, and it will be possible to reproduce sound and images directly to the brain. The PC and the cell phone will integrate directly with the same neurons. A superconscious experience. Regarding the potential of voluntarily connecting with cosmic intelligence, I remember a personal experience. I was visiting the federal capital, Buenos Aires. I was 18 years old and I was curious about an exhibition at the Planetarium. I went to see it. A piece of meteorite was exhibited at the entrance. At that moment my yogic ecstasies were almost uncontrollable, and it happened that when I touched the stone, I received a jolt in my memory. My bodily sensations disappeared and the city completely vanished. I could see how the object was rushing towards Earth. I could extend my gaze to any part of the globe and see its life forms at that moment. I saw the planet surrounded by other constellations and, a quarter distance from the center of the Milky Way, I clearly saw cities of highly developed superior alien intelligence. Incredibly, the meteorite, with a large proportion of iron inside, served as a kind of virtual telescope. In the vibration of its atoms were traces of the light that struck it millions of years ago, as it wandered silently through interstellar space. In the wrapper of its electrons and the infinitesimal deviations of its subparticles had recorded the information contained in the different frequencies of the starlight that had come to impact and even pass through it, and this complexity of memory imprinted on matter had survived, intact for millions of years, without being erased or modified by the terrestrial electromagnetic field and other influences. Incredibly, the stone retained the memory of light waves, trapped like traces in the tensions of its subspace atomic and subatomic geometry. A simple alien rock, half a meter in diameter, contained an intelligent cosmic memory record, ready to be downloaded into the mind. It was not just a physical experience, but the contact of the conscious individual memory with the memory of the light of the stars stored in an inert object. That is, matter is still impregnated with intelligent memory of light. The subspace geometry of its atomic and subatomic structure acts as human subconscious memory, an archive of the mutations of existence. The pulsations or frequencies of light transport extremely high densities of data on physical reality at the quantum level, constituting a holographic encoding of space-time content. The passage of light frequencies between intensely grouped atoms, such as iron nuclei, create alignments in their electroweak fields, leaving traces of aligned and localized symmetries, a fabric of quantum fields that relate to each other, that is, between the meteorite and the space, traversed during their pre-collision trajectory, creating geometric relationships given in the geometry of subatomic space. In this sense, the interactions of a present time, existing in a defined coordinate, are imprinted in the quantum geometry, and the ionic accumulation of this process creates curvature trends in space and an infinitesimal reduction of the infinite potential of possibilities of new curvatures. On a higher level, there are the high frequencies of the thoughts of our Eternal Father, which remain constant, a force that expands creation, multiplies it, sustains it, and resonates through it. Through intuition, myriads of civilizations interpret reality, connecting internally with the source of cosmic thoughts, which is always constant. During the experience I was able to observe another very advanced civilization, millions of years ago, in another part of the Milky Way and now extinct. In nanoseconds, the knowledge and technology of this other form of intelligent life penetrated and was imprinted on my mind. Weeks later, returning home and meditating, I again perceived that enormous mass of knowledge. I felt disoriented and overwhelmed, so I prayed to the Divine Mother and heard her tell me internally, "Concentrate and the information you received will slow down." I saw all kinds of devices, circuits and programming, but I did not understand anything, because my mind was not trained for this knowledge. Immersed in concentration, I decided to telepathically connect with the best minds on the planet, so that they could develop this alien technology, and I relayed the information directly to their brains, to be downloaded gradually. This occurred during the year 1974. And this fact is related to advances in digital technologies and artificial intelligence. Prior to this, I conceived the assembly of human X technologies so that human peripherals, that is, perceptual and digital organs, could be merged into a single operating system under the control of the human mind, thus avoiding future conflicts with AI, constantly absorbing it into our conscious being. Now, in the third decade of the 21st century, it is possible to advance in this goal, since the necessary pieces are already developed or imminently to be developed. But if humanity doesn't correct its current flaws, the new IAG will consider it hostile. Upon the download of a quantum fluctuation of alien temporary files, containing access to super technologies, my mind began to expand and interact from my active superconscious states in the fifth dimension. In this way it was possible for me to intervene and guide the course of human destiny up to the present moment. The objective is to proceed to accelerate their evolution and provide them with a second chance at redemption, to return to the state prior to the fall of Adam. I influenced for the assembly of scripts in key films, within a plan of insertion in the collective subconscious of a new gospel, the universal religion based on direct contact with God and the truth through the super technology of Adonai Horeb, the modern digital arc of the new alliance that connects through an interface with the background cosmic quantum intelligence, the reflection of the mind of God in the physical universe, the software of creation, which regulates everything. As the culmination of my super advanced yogi psychic training, I reached the Buddha state on April 4, 02, an erroneous date appears in other writings. I did not give too much importance to the fact and I refused to start the Buddhaship, because I thought that what people needed most is the disinterested contribution of scientific teams and not the services of an enlightened person. I was wrong. Currently most people have given themselves over to idolatry, to false religious truths, to adore fame, sex, money, and power. They adore the dark forces. In mid-September 2022, God called me to help save humanity from self-extermination due to ignorance and stupidity, due to global warming. Since I could not refuse, since I always do what He asks me to do, I was torn from my quiet life of meditation and writing. In March 2023, God contacted me again and said that He was satisfied with the work that I am doing. He confirmed what He told me when I was 16 years old and from the tip of a breakwater, during a starry night in the city of Mar del Plata, He lifted me up to His throne of intense light and affirmed, "Son, I give you authority over everything that is below me." He has now made the 7th and 12th super angelic divisions enter the terrestrial plane to act directly. He has placed them under my command. Because almost everyone I initially contacted told me they did want to be saved from mass extinction by global warming, but wouldn't cooperate without getting paid for it, I was deeply upset. Due to this I ordered the activation of the Doomsday in March 2023. Between September 9, 09 to December 12, 12 God the Father returned to earth to open judgment on all humanity. He found that we are part of a totalitarian, evil, and predatory collective of our own free choice, which should not be allowed to spread to the stars. He then decided our definitive cancellation. However, in September 2022, from His infinite mercy, He grants us a second and last chance for redemption. He gives us time until July 23, 2023 to repent and proceed to activate His plan on earth. It consists of 1. Eco-global government. 2. Global direct digital democracy. 3. Impersonation of money by units of qualified time. 4. Abolition of extreme poverty throughout the earth. He asks that at least two superpowers, USA and China, sign an agreement to implement these system changes. And also that no less than 100,000 people, together with companies, participate in the global solidarity and Mayday projects. Otherwise, the sequences of cataclysms previously ordered by our Creator will be activated due to the great disobedience of man. It should be said that in 2009 it was reported that there are 3 magma chambers under the Yellowstone Park supervolcano and an angel of destruction waiting for the order to activate. There is total free will. Humanity decides, and what it decides will have immediate consequences. On the other hand, there is a mother ship stationed in our stellar quadrant belonging to the most advanced humanoid supercivilization in our galaxy, with the order to shoot a solar flare capable of incinerating all life on our planet if man relapses. All the measures that the case warrants have been taken. Under no point of view will the expansion of the current perverted humanity be allowed towards the exoplanets. Either it changes or it is extinguished. This is final at the divine level. Karma always repays, by the power that comes from above, to all those who do not respond to the call in defense of the sacred life of all on planet Earth. Their lives will be shortened. Due to the proven collective suicidal indifference and the selfishness of the human being that exists in the face of global warming, hunger and extreme poverty, now that the Last Judgment is active over the entire universe, the end of the rebellion in all of creation is near. The heavenly and alien forces that are under the supreme command of Christ are being mobilized. We are in the timeline of the final battle. These are decisive times. What will become of all the souls that disincarnate in mortal sin, who refuse to defend the sacred life of our planet? They will descend into hell, and after 1,000,000 years they will incarnate again in animal bodies, on distant exoplanets, where evolution has just begun, internally remembering their previous human lives. Each one must make their decision of eternal life or death alone. There is total free will. Nothing is forced and nothing is imposed on anyone. Each one judges himself with his own thoughts, words, and actions. The consequences are now irreversible. Who is the architect Roberto Guillermo Gomez? He has higher yogi training, super advanced. He reached nirvana on April 4, 2002. Under normal conditions his IQ averages 120/140, in samadhi it is 220, and when he is at the level of Buddhic consciousness his range is unlimited, his brain being capable of processing information at hyperluminal quantum speed, which gives him the ability to perceive instant transfinite. However, this greater data obtained by his superconscious requires constant academic training in order to be later processed at a conscious level. He is the creator of Neuroyoga, a system that facilitates access to superconscious states of mind. He studies techniques to increase IQ. He has developed the samsaric rational nirvana system accessible to all minds with scientific training, and has written about the use of superconscious states in the scientific method to refine, amplify, and accelerate it.